So you got me off the hook here a little bit, Shaunti, because in the next element, I was going to talk about how there might be differences between males and females. And so I was really worried about talking about that. But the fifth element for everybody, I'm probably in huge trouble here. So you're going to make it all good with your data and stuff, but create encouraging friendships.
Yeah.
And the day that I pulled out from this one was the Pray for Jody devotional. But this is one that I have to say, my initial impression is that maybe on social media and maybe in conversation, I personally feel like a lot of times the mom presents the perfect picture, whether it's on Instagram or on Facebook. Is that unfair? Do dads do that as well?
I think, no, I think it is.
This is where I'm going. So that's why I'm like, oh man. And my kids are older, so I've experienced this for 22 years and 19 years respectively. But for women, finding encouraging relationships, my observation has been it's vital. But I also feel like sometimes it is hard because the natural tendency that I've seen is maybe that women will make things seem perfect.
Yes.
And sort of harder to penetrate from a relational standpoint.
You have, and this is
So
one of the,
you got to bail me out. Bail me out.
No, listen, I got your back on this one. There's a lot of data on this, actually, unfortunately.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's not that that's not true. It is a little more nuanced than it might appear to a guy, especially. but truly, one of the things that can be an issue is that there is a natural sort of self-protective desire in all of us, men and women, to look our best, white picket fence, everything's happy, right? Especially on Instagram, especially on social media. And yet, one of the things that science and scripture says is essential is this having a community. We're not built to do life alone. And we are one of the key ways to not live a life of anxiety and worry, according to pretty much every study that's ever been done on this, is to make sure you're not isolated, is to make sure that you have those that you love, that you can develop friendships with and reach out to, who know the real you and the real them. And the good thing that actually is a strength of women is that once we stop ourselves from always feeling like we have to have the happy white picket fence view, and we open ourselves up, is that women do tend to form incredibly close friendships. And that's something that if there's any men listening to this, I know that's harder for men. There's all sorts of reasons for that we don't have time to get into. And yet men need those kinds of friendships as well. It may look different, and that's fine. My husband has a couple of close guy friends that he does life with, and they're trying to stay in touch via Zoom and text.
That's the way we can do it. That's the way we do it, right?
And that is something that for us today is especially crucial, that we talk about intentionality. We have no choice but to be intentional if we're going to have those kinds of relationships continue to be a support during this time, because we're not seeing each other in person. I can't go grab breakfast. Like this morning, I opened up my calendar and I was supposed to be having breakfast with a friend before our work days started. That was gone, somebody that we needed to catch up. Well, there's no reason whatsoever that I can't catch up via phone or Zoom or video call or whatever. And even though it's not the same, don't use that as an excuse to not do it.
Yeah.
It's right now very, very important that you do it anyway. And just as a quick example of that, our old home group, our home group we had in our home before all of the books started and our travel season, speaking life
Yeah.
started.
Right.
We had to give up our home group. It was so sad. But, we were just traveling too much. We kept having to cancel. But those friends have been maintained friendships for the last 15 years. Well, one of them sent us all a text recently and said, you know what? They're now all over the world, different states, different countries. Why don't we have a virtual home group? Like, we can't physically meet anyway, because one couple's in South Africa, the other's in London, the other's in this state, the other's in this state. But hey, we can be a home group again for the first time in
Yeah.
15 years.
Oh,
And
that's
so we
awesome.
had our first call with the group on Saturday, and I was crying. Like, it was just beautiful to
Yeah.
suddenly be like, oh my gosh, I missed this cadre of people.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's hard, but there are these weird moments of grace and blessing in the middle of it
Mm,
if we choose to see it that way.
yeah. That's really good.